Imagine stepping outside your house, but there's no house, no roads, no power lines, no cell signal. Just blinding white snow stretching for miles. Now imagine that snow never melts. The air stings your lungs. Every breath feels like you're inhaling razors. Congratulations, you've just been dropped into the Ice Age. We're talking about the Pleistocene epoch, a time period that began over 2.5 million years ago and lasted until about 12,000 years ago. For humans, this was a time of unimaginable struggle. Temperatures in some regions dropped to -40 degrees Fahrenheit. Glaciers covered entire continents. But here's the worst part. You don't have clothes. You don't have fire. You don't even have food. This isn't a survival challenge. It's a death sentence. You might think you've experienced cold before, maybe walking through a snowstorm, or losing power during a winter blackout. But that's nothing compared to the constant, bone-deep freeze of the Ice Age. Forget about shivering for an hour and then hopping into a heated room. In the Ice Age, your body never truly warms up. Your skin cracks, your lips bleed, fingers go numb, then black, and if you sit still too long, even for a nap, hypothermia quietly sets in. There were no second chances. And while you're trying to figure out how to not freeze to death, something else is watching you from the trees. In the Ice Age, humans weren't apex predators. They were prey. Lions bigger than today's African lions. Packs of dire wolves that worked together like professional assassins. Saber-toothed cats with fangs longer than your fingers. And don't forget, short-faced bears standing 12 feet tall and running faster than a racehorse. Every sound in the forest could be something that wants to eat you. And you're slow, soft, and smell like fear. Imagine being asleep at night, in a shelter made of sticks and animal skins. You hear breathing, not your own, just outside. No doors, no locks. If something wants in, it's coming in. Still think you'd survive, even if you somehow avoid becoming a predator's dinner. You still have a bigger problem. Hunger. Where do you find food in the Ice Age? There are no supermarkets, no kitchens, just frozen terrain. Most edible plants are buried under snow. Fruits, forget it, they're seasonal luxuries. So you need meat. But hunting isn't a weekend hobby here. It's life or death. Every single day. To get food, you'd have to kill a wild animal with tools you don't even know how to make yet. Then skin it, butcher it, cook it. And that's if you even make it close enough without being gored to death by a mammoth or stomped by an angry bison. And if you do get the meat, now you smell like blood and everything in the forest knows it. If a modern human like you dropped into the Ice Age, you'd last hours, maybe a day. But our ancestors, they made it their home, so how did they do it? Here's where it gets fascinating. The first rule of Ice Age survival: find shelter fast. Prehistoric humans didn't just stumble around hoping for caves. They built shelters from bones, wood, animal hides, and even ice blocks in some regions. Mammoth bones were especially prized, not just for tools, but for making domes that acted like ancient igloos. Covered in thick hides, layered with moss or snow, these shelters were warm enough to keep a fire burning and a small group alive. Think about that while you're complaining about Wi-Fi. A group of ancient humans were surviving a blizzard. Under a mammoth ribcage, they didn't have tutorials, no architects, just instinct, trial and error. And the burning will to live. Fire was everything. Not just for warmth but for cooking, protection, even social bonding. Sitting around the fire wasn't just cozy, it was critical. They guarded fire like treasure. If the flames went out in the middle of the night, there was no flicking a lighter, they had to start over. Sometimes by striking flint or spinning wood with dry fibers for hours. There's evidence that some tribes even carried fire from one place to another in glowing coals wrapped in moss. Imagine trekking through a snowstorm, holding a smoldering ember in your cloak, praying the wind doesn't snuff out your only hope. Around that fire, they shared food, passed knowledge, and told stories, maybe even the first bedtime tales of monsters and gods. Forget smartphones. Prehistoric survival depended on something far simpler: stone and bone. Their tools were shockingly advanced. Flint knives so sharp they rival modern scalpels. Spear tips carved from antlers, weighted clubs, needles made from bones to stitch clothing. They weren't just brutes. With rocks, these people engineered gear that worked in the harshest climate on Earth, and they did it with no written language, no factories, and no blueprints. And don't forget weapons. If you wanted meat, you had to hunt it, and that meant facing 10-foot-tall woolly beasts with nothing but teamwork and handmade spears. Think of the nerves, the precision, the sheer courage. No pause button, no backup plan. Imagine walking barefoot across snow, starving, freezing, dragging a stick you hope will scare off a saber-tooth. That's not a movie scene. That was life. Modern humans, we're soft. Put one of us in Ice Age conditions, and things start breaking down fast. Frostbite in under 30 minutes. Hypothermia in 2 hours. Your blood thickens, your fingers stiffen, your thinking slows. Eventually your organs shut down, quietly, painfully. But early humans, their bodies adapted. Over generations they evolved shorter limbs, broader noses, stockier builds, all optimized to conserve heat. They developed thick calluses, denser hair, and even unique fat storage that worked like insulation. you'd be crying for thermal socks. They were trudging through snow and reindeer hides, chasing mammoths with ice on their beards. The Ice Age built us, and it broke the weak. But survival wasn't just physical. The cold messes with your brain. It makes you tired, slow, hopeless. The line between rational thought and panic becomes razor-thin. Imagine a mother losing her child to frostbite and still having to hunt that night, or a father sitting by a fire watching his tribe starve one by one, knowing there's no food left. These weren't just survivors, they were warriors of the soul. To keep going in that world, you needed more than muscle, you needed mental fire, a deep ancestral grit no modern self-help book could ever teach. And yet, they did it. Not just for a night, for thousands of years. Here's the wildest part. The Ice Age didn't just shape our bodies, it may have shaped our minds. Many scientists believe the harsh conditions accelerated human intelligence. The constant struggle to find food, build shelter, navigate threats, it forced us to invent, cooperate, and think ahead. Language may have developed faster in the cold, because talking meant surviving. So did culture, art, rituals, even empathy. So while it nearly killed us, it also made us. You wouldn't survive 24 hours in the Ice Age, but without the Ice Age, you wouldn't exist at all.